So I know you have a brand new album called Twin Cannons.
Yeah, Twin Cannons.
So I know that you had that classic black exploitation aesthetic in mind when you put that together, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. So tell me about that. Why that? Why were you influenced, and why did you want to put out an album that had that kind of imagery?
Content that's always been one of my favorite genres to watch. Right. I kind of grew up on that stuff as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And I always took a liking to that because, if you go back in history, that was like the first era where black people weren't being made fools of in movies. You know what I'm saying? So we came back in the 70s as superheroes and, these ghetto superheroes, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, these guys were like larger than life. When you think about Black Caesar, Chuck Turner, Foxy Brown, you know what I'm saying? These are, larger than life people. So we kind of flipped it around. If you look at movies the years before that, except for a few choice actors, everybody was, basically it was like minstrel type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we were always somebody's maid, and we were always somebody's butler, or whatever the case is. So the 70s, we kind of, it was a dope era to me because it to me it signifies empowerment. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed, indeed. I grew up on those movies as well, and I always was a fan of those films, and I don't think I really appreciated it until I had an opportunity to sit down with Rudy Ray Moore, aka Dolomite.
Okay.
Rest in peace. And and I got to learn that, not only was it groundbreaking because of what we were seeing, but behind the scenes, at least in his case, he was actually, doing the DIY thing in the 70s, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He was making his own movies. He was shooting them.
Exactly.
People thought he was crazy for putting his money into it. He would go out with the reel, with the actual film, and take it from city to city, go on whatever the radio show was that was playing the soul music during the day, and then promote it at night. And that gave me a whole new, appreciation for, not only for the movies, but also for the art of being an independent. And obviously you're independent. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about, how you got in the game and exactly, where you are right now.
Okay. Well, I started off, first of all, I've been rhyming probably since I was like maybe 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. Probably like around the time Crisscross first came out. That was probably the first time I wrote a rap, you know what I'm saying? But, before a long time, it was just a fun thing we did in high school and all that stuff. I started off with a group, you know what I'm saying? Those are still my brothers to this day. We call ourselves U-Gang. We was running around, we was doing our thing, local stuff, on the eastern end of Long Island. And then we changed our name into the 495 Boys later on. And we were really doing our thing, going out to New York City, doing shows and stuff like that. We were like real local celebrities, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of just felt like we hit a ceiling, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like either shit or get off the pot, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? So I made a where I grew up in a town called Riverhead, which is all the way on the east end of Long Island. It's probably like the last big town on Long Island. So I made, at that point, especially when my son was born too, I made a decision that I really wanted to go harder with it than maybe we might have been doing there, and leave some of the street stuff behind too, because, we were making music, but we were still heavily involved in a lot of stuff that was going on out there, So I started to move closer to New York City. You know what I'm saying? And I really started to get a foothold for what was going on. And I started to learn that not only the hip hop music, but the hip hop, the business of music. You know what I'm saying? And, I took it from there. Fast forward to like about 2012, I finally, after struggling with it for a while, I finally just decided to do my first solo project, you know what I'm saying, which is the Drugs mixtape, you know what I'm saying? And I got really good response. You know what I'm saying? I was actually going back and forth to Boston recording because my little cousin Brandon, man, he was running a studio out there, and he's the one that really gave me the confidence to go and do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And he's still like my right hand right now. He helps me with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? With everything that I do, and he brought me out there, and I took, it was like maybe 2 trips, 2 weekends. I went to Boston and the mixtape was done. You know what I'm saying? And I started working out there, and I actually really got my start more out there in Boston as a solo artist. And they always, I always say Boston is like my second home because they showed me so much love out there. You hear a lot of bad stuff about Boston and how they do out of towners, but I don't know. I've never experienced that. You know what I'm saying? And after I did that, then we released a second mixtape, Drugs 2, the following year, and the reception got even bigger. Than the blog started to pay attention a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I just kept going from there. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Going back to the beginning, you mentioned during the time of Criss Cross, what was some of your first influences, and did that include people from Long Island? Because there've been some pretty iconic hip hop artists from Long Island.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I can remember like around my time when I first started listening to hip hop, Keith Murray was huge. You know what I'm saying? Keith Murray was like the one at that time. You know what I'm saying? If you can remember like that 93, 94, 95 era, Keith Murray was the guy. And I remember Rakim dropped an album like in 96. I was a big fan of that. You know what I'm saying? EPMD, obviously, like I had older brothers and stuff, so they put me on to the EPMD, and shout out to PMD. We actually just did a record together too.
Nice.
Which is dope. But yeah, I would say, but beyond Long Island, it was definitely like Mobb Deep, Boot Camp Click, Nas, that It Was Written album. You know what I'm saying? Definitely put me somewhere else mentally. Probably Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? All the early Bad Boy stuff, the mixtapes, like You'll See, songs like that, and the early versions of Benjamins. I can remember stuff like that, the Locks, you know what I'm saying? All this stuff definitely helped to shape me, and I was definitely into Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. And my brother, he was heavy on Gang Stars. He still always play a lot of Gang Starr for me and stuff like that.
I mean, that's a lot of classic music. And even before, I mean, Long Island, I think about going back to the JVC Force and the the mid-'80s, Strong Island. And, of course, P.E. can't ever forget the icons of hip-hop, still killing it after all these years. Shout out to Chuck D, everybody's favorite freedom fighter. So let's talk a little bit about production. The new album is, if I'm not mistaken, produced by K Slugger from Sweden.
Yeah. Shout out to K Slugger. He produced the whole thing for me. We had started off, just sending songs back and forth. I remember like one of the first beats he sent me was the beat for Message on there, and I was like, ooh, like that was something different because I don't know, it's very hard to find like boom bap out here. You know what I'm saying? Like in the States, it's like there's not a lot of people who are really doing it. And especially if you don't like actually know somebody, you know what I'm saying? You're definitely going to be hard to find it online. You know what I'm saying? So when I was immediately drawn to his sound, and I'd heard some other stuff he had done, like he worked with a couple other, like he's done stuff with West Side Gun, he's done stuff with Conway, you know what I'm saying, and then like Hus Kingpin and guys like that, you know what I'm saying, got Long Island guys, Smooth, you know what I'm saying, shout out to all of them. He did some stuff with them, and I was really like I was really digging the sound. It's just like a very classic sound, and once he started sending me stuff, it was like pretty much a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, yeah, we need to go ahead and move forward with this. And I started probably about a year ago, and then I had my son was born. You know what I'm saying? So I took about 3 months off, like towards the end of her pregnancy and the end of my wife's pregnancy, and maybe the first couple of months. And then once I felt like everybody was settled in and everything was cool, I got back and I finished and wrapped up the final few songs, you know what I'm saying, and really went into packaging, you know what I'm saying?
And that's important. I mean, I was going to ask you a little bit about marketing. The package, the album art, if you will, is, one of the biggest pieces of free marketing, because if people see it and it stands out, they're going to pay attention. Talk to me a little bit about some of the other ways that you're getting the word out. Obviously, we know about it. So what are other ways that you're getting people to learn about the brand new album?
Well, I mean, obviously, the use of social media, man. You got to be a dummy not to use social media, right? But also, too, One thing that I think is a lost art is the relationship with the DJs. I think that we somewhere in between SoundCloud and the internet, we lost that. We lost being able to reach out to the DJ. So, there's a bunch of DJs. I mean, so many I can't even name that are supporting me. So I try to make sure I come and visit. I come and do interviews, and there's this type of music. There is a market for people that go look for these types of radio stations. So I definitely take advantage of that and just make sure I come with some crazy bars every time I go. You know what I'm saying? And that definitely helps a lot. You know what I'm saying? And the use of even podcasts too. Like I just did Doggy Diamonds last night. You know what I'm saying? So, just stuff like that. And I plan to do a lot more. If they call, I'm gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So I just I just feel like you have to use everything around you. I mean, there does come a time when you have to spend some money, but a lot of this stuff is free. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So,
indeed.
And I think if you really want it, then you'll find a way to really spread the word. I mean, anybody that knows me knows what I'm about. I tell people all the time, if you don't want to get tagged, if you don't want to see my links, just unfriend me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And radio, you mentioned radio. That's one of those things that I think is slowly, unfortunately, for a lot of people, especially young people, becoming a lost medium. And there's still very prominent radio happening. It's just in many ways being overshadowed by all the other ways that people get things.
Yeah, exactly. I think that people really need to. I don't know. I feel like it should really be tapped into, and I think that radio is always going to be here as far as the type of music that I make. You know what I'm saying? But I think maybe as far as some of the more commercial stuff, that really might be a slippery slope.
You mentioned boom bap, which is kind of weird because that's kind of like the outcast right now. Once upon a time, hip hop and boom bap was synonymous. Boom bap wasn't a type of hip hop music.
It was the only type.
and lyricism, that's something else that I know, that you have mastered. Talk to me a little bit about where you think we are right now when it comes to, the classic tenets of hip hop, which were, creativity, bringing that boom bap, the lyrics, the DJs. Where are we? What's John Jiggs' perspective on that right now?
Well, contrary to popular belief, I honestly feel like there is room for everything. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, I was one of those people who was like, you know what? This is not hip hop, yada, 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 right? And I thought about it and I said, who am I to tell somebody what's real to them, right? So at the same time, I feel like there needs to be balance. I feel like there needs to be more balance, right? But I feel like, but I can't, if Lil Yachty wants to make a song called Peekaboo, then that's, that's with him. And if it's working for him, then who am I to be like, no, you can't do that, right?
Indeed.
So you know what I'm saying? So and to me, I honestly don't mind when I see other artists making that type of music because all it does is make me shine more with what I do. You understand what I'm saying?
That is true.
Let's say somebody like Lil Yachty with a bigger fan base decides he wants to have bars today, right? Then that might hurt me. Not saying that he's better than me, but just because he has the bigger fan base, it might be like, well, we want to hear what he's saying. True. You understand what I'm saying?
True.
So to me, it's okay for them to do that because you had to have 50 Cent to have Kanye. You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed.
You had to have Mobb Deep in order to have Lupe Fiasco. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily mind it. I just think that we've come to a place where there isn't really much balance.
I like that.
But we're at a good place. And one thing I could say, one major thing that, I could say is like with Eminem, like with him signing West Side Gun. That's big. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when underground becomes major. You understand what I'm saying? And if they do it correctly, then they're gonna make that type of music popular again. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a big shout out to Eminem because he didn't have to do that.
Indeed.
Right? You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he did do it, and I know him, he's not gonna make them do anything they don't want to do.
True.
Right?
True.
So I think we're in a good place, you know what I'm saying? And I think that people are starting to see that certain things are corny and certain things, but even, you know, even in trap music, if you find there's bullshit trap music, and there's trap music where rappers are going in. You understand? Where you know, where you can hear bars. You know what I'm saying? So I think people need to not be so closed-minded, and that's on both sides. I think that the people who listen to the trap music need to not be so closed-minded, and I think that the people who are listening to quote unquote real hip hop need to be a little bit less closed-minded too. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And because of my age and the era that I grew up in, I'm kind of like right in the middle. I'm a early 30 something, so it's like I understand both. You know what I'm saying? I understand both worlds. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed, indeed. And you know, you made some great points. I think that despite what's playing on commercial radio, despite what's getting, you know, 100 million views on YouTube, there's always going to be authentic hip hop someplace, especially now where it's not about the record label. It's just about making sure you use the tools that you have in front of you to get your art out there. So a lot of great points.
And the other thing is too, you asked me a question before about what am I doing? Really too, it's about hitting the road too. You know what I mean? You have to hit the road. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably home 2-3 nights a week, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's because that's how bad I want it. You know what I'm saying? If I gotta stay up all night and then go to work in the morning, then that's what has to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna continue to do that because right now I'm getting gratification. It's working. You know what I'm saying? So it's no reason for me to stop doing it.
So
you understand what I'm saying?
Let's talk about that. Where are you doing shows currently? Where are you planning to do shows? And what is a John Jiggs show like?
Oh man, John Jiggs show is dope. I got something coming up next week at the Delancey. That's supposed to be with let's see, we got I think Royal Flush is on the show. VVS Verbal is on the show. Stuck B is on the show. Few other people. I think I saw Pharaoh Monch on the card. Whole bunch of different people. So I got that at the Delancey. That's coming on next Wednesday. I'm doing Summer Stage with Faith Evans on August 4th, opening up for her at Prospect Park. That's gonna be really dope. And we hitting the road. You know, anything that's like close to New York. You know, Jersey, Philly, DC. We there. You know what I'm saying? And we just moving and it keeps growing. And that's the whole thing, is just to try to expand and, you know, try to touch as many people as we can. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. And speaking of moving, how did you go ahead and make those moves and connect with K-Slug out in Sweden?
Oh, I mean, like we was talking about the internet. You know what I mean? It started with a simple DM. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we exchanged information and we just started sending stuff back and forth. And it was kind of like a match made in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Because we really do sound good together. And he's a cool guy. Like, he's not a dick. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it even better. You know what I'm saying?
That's important.
Yeah. No, sometimes, and that's the thing. Sometimes, like, I've worked with producers before that were, like, really, really talented, but just not good people. You know what I'm saying? And it you know, you want to do it for the sake of the music, but it sucks. But he's like very easy to work with and very easy going. You know what I'm saying? He understands the hip hop game too. So
indeed. So when are you taking it on the road internationally? When are we going to see you out there?
Me and him were just talking about that today. We're probably going to do a Twin Cannons tour in the fall. You know what I'm saying? Europe, Scandinavia, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. And we're working on booking everything and lining everything up now. So look out for that.
So you've been grinding hard for a while. You have a new album. You're going to be making some moves. You're going to be doing more shows. You're taking it overseas. Where do you see yourself 2 years from now?
2 years from now? 2 years from now, I would like to be... like some of my my peers are like, you know, guys that have paved the way for me. Like, you know, these guys they do 200 shows a year. You know what I'm saying? And they out here moving. You know what I'm saying? That's where I want to be. I want to be in a position where I can do hip hop full time for a living. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to put food on the table and off of this hip hop music. You know what I'm saying? And I would like to I would like to definitely be in a position where I can help some of I got my team, the Monopoly family, you know what I'm saying? A couple of hungry MCs. One of us is from Brooklyn, the other from Long Island. I'm bringing us together. That's probably the next project that you'll see come out, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been working on some stuff with them. So, you know, I would like to put them in a position where they can do the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And building my company too, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not, like I said, it's not just music anymore. You can't just put out songs anymore. You have to be on top of everything. You know what I'm saying? Of everything that's going on. So, you know, that's pretty much where I see myself, man. You know, I figure if I could make the same thing or a little bit more than I make at a job doing hip hop, I'll be a happy camper.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Nice. Nice. So tell everybody where they could pick up or consume. These days you got to say, you know, consume because of all the streaming platforms, the new album. So I know you're on Spotify. Where else could they check it out?
So Spotify, iTunes, you can get that on Amazon Music. Let's see, Tidal. It's on Tidal. You can stream it on Tidal. The YouTube is monetized now, so you can go get it off of YouTube. I'm trying to think. Am I missing any of them? Deezer. Basically anywhere where you buy music, you know what I'm saying? Whatever type of system you use, Google Play, obviously, you know what I'm saying? It's there. It's definitely there. And most of my other, the rest of my catalog is there too. The only thing that's not is my first mixtape. We did the Dat Piff thing one time.
Talk about your socials. Do you have a website? Where can they find you online?
Well, the website is actually under construction right now. That'll be out very soon. But you can follow me on Twitter at Jiggs the Great, JIGGSTHEGREAT. Instagram John_JIGGS. And then, you know, hit that like page on Facebook too, man. I don't know why. I don't even know if it matters, but I just like to have a lot of likes. It makes me feel important. So, you know, go ahead and hit that. And then, you know, that's also a very good tool. You know, it keeps everybody updated with everything that's going on. So, that's about it, man. And then, you know, anybody looking to have me come out to your city or do you want to collaborate, whatever, reach out to Melodic Management 2017 at gmail.com.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for taking time, John. I'm going to dig into Twin Cannons. And,
salute.
And we'll be seeing you on Insomniac Magazine.
All right, take care, man. Appreciate it. One love.